Welcome, newbies. You are here with leaders of the new Nonprofits Empowering Worlds podcast. Joining us today is Syda Taylor of Organic Oneness. This is an organization based in Chicago, and their mission is to eliminate racism and heal our communities. We're going to dive in deep today with the founder of Organic Oneness and talk about her journey in organizing this movement, as well as how she overcame her own personal health challenges. And we'll find out how she continues to lead with faith and purpose. But before we bring her to the stage, I would like for you to hear a word from the Female Solutions, because without the Female Solutions, this broadcast would not be brought to you today.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Welcome, Syda. Syda, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you. Okay, well, can you hear me, Syda? While we are waiting for Syda to fix her microphone, let's go ahead and read what the mission statement is of Organic Oneness. And then when she comes back to the stage, we can talk about it. So Organic Oneness is a grassroots social justice organization that brings people together to eliminate racism and create healthy communities in Chicago.
We have to come together. We have to figure this out. Race is a human construct. It's not a spiritual construct. We're all equal on the side of God.
Humanity is like one organism, and when one part suffers, the rest will feel its consequences. Everything that we use to divide ourselves, we can now see it as gifts to each other, to bring us all together, and we can embrace those differences as gifts and insights to a new world and a new way that we can be together.
I see two different Chicagos. There's the beautiful, affluent city that has arts and culture and team sports and plenty of opportunities. And then there's the other Chicago that suffers from inequity and the legacy of slavery that still stains our institutions. I have the privilege to walk through both worlds. So I use resources from one to help the other. If people can change their mindset and think of humanity as flowers of one garden, then we'll get to world peace. You have a piece of the puzzle, I have a piece of the puzzle, you all have a piece of the puzzle. And when we come together, then we could say, that's the picture. That's the picture. Then we can move forward. So I want you to think about how your gift contributes to healing racism.
Syda, do you want to try putting on your earbuds?
Hey, Bridgett, it's Asada, production mode. What do you think about showing the other video of Syda's work while we're waiting for us fixing these technical difficulties? You want to show the other video?
Yes. So the video that I'm about to show is an upcoming event that Syda has called King Day of Service. It's an annual event that she does every year with students from different schools in the Chicago area. So I'm about to show you a little bit about what happens during King Day of Service while we wait for Syda to get her audio together. Thank you.
About to get started with another King Day of Service, bring some people together to beautify our schools and having everybody contribute to making them a better place.
We are honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Instead of staying home and doing nothing, that we make it a really active and proactive day.
It feels kind of natural. People gravitate towards being together, especially on a day like King Holiday.
So we have 14 service sites in Bronzeville and Inglewood, which is really exciting.
Our physical space has an impact on our motivation, on our emotions, generally speaking.
The volunteers are actually helping us spruce up our place and make it feel more welcoming and inviting for our participants.
So that students are proud of where they learn and spend most of their day.
Give them some light, some motivation, some knowledge, some equations on this wall, some math and science.
I feel like the kids, when they see this on Monday, they're going to be so enthusiastic. They're going to be so happy.
And be excited about being in a bright and sunny space, and that they'll be encouraged about coming to school, because this is where the seeds are planted.
The way I'm able to keep any dream alive, including his, is just the way I paint and the way I express myself through color.
Also making sure that the people stay engaged, have a good time while painting the mural.
We know from experience that there are many people doing great things, working together and going beyond race. The best that humanity has to offer.
Not worrying and thinking about ourselves, but thinking about others. Investing our time, our talents, our treasures.
Some of us are making lunches for our unhoused community members. Some people are making care packages for the teachers.
We might as well do something in the community to help out people, and this is what it is, the King's Day of Service.
Man, life beyond racism looks like respect. It looks like thinking of different cultures, different ways of doing things, different peoples as valuable, even when we don't understand them.
If we can all get past that, life would be so amazing. Everything would be equal. There wouldn't be poverty.
You know, you had to have experienced the bad to be able to understand the good. We all looked alike, just different colors. We got the same eyes, nose, mouth, ears. We're one.
Beyond racism, life looks like a beautiful place in which everyone is valued and appreciated, but also the differences and diversity that makes everyone unique is celebrated and honored. Everybody will have wealth and live healthy and happy. So that's how I see it.
How do we spread kindness? Are we spreading illness, disease, and hurt? Or are we, lifting each other up?
Where we go out in the community and create impact, giving back and serving others, people serving people.
Everyone, everywhere is able to fulfill their purpose and help society advance together.
Just connecting with people, beyond race and color and ethnicity or wherever you're from, north side, south side. I think we'll all be better off, if we're connected and actually working together.
You can have the same chance at getting a good job and having, a quality job the rest of your life, regardless of your zip code.
This is an example of what it might look like when we actually join hands together regardless of what our backgrounds might be and believe in the good in each other.
It looks like unity. It looks like love. It looks like connection.
It looks like one nation under God, what it's supposed to be. It looks like what Dr. King said, that we would be judged by our character, not by our color.
I don't know what a world without racism looks like, but I feel like I get a little bit closer to what that might be every time we do an event like this.
Like, we're all human. Stop worrying about skin color differences, accept the differences.
Greatness and oneness of coming together to serve, to make an impact.
Be able to coexist in a world that's full of peace, joy, and prosperity.
His dream is alive.
Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, I'm going to bring Syda to the stage. Again, we're going to pray that everything is okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you.
Oh,
yes.
Goodness. Oh my gosh.
I hear you.
What a way to start the podcast. I'm so sorry.
What happened? We don't know.
But you know what? This is a good way to show nonprofit life, right? Like you put all the pieces in place and then you got to roll with what actually happens.
Yes, you definitely have to pivot. Yes. I see the same thing in education, in the field of education,
Yeah.
You have to be flexible.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's double back. We're going to get into your personal story and who you are. But for those who are unfamiliar with the organization, I would like for you to explain in your own words what Organic Oneness is. So we've looked at the mission, and this is a tall order, okay?
Yeah.
Eliminate racism, heal communities. What does that mean? And how do you do that?
Yeah, so it is a tall order, and thank you for inviting me to this platform to talk about it, because the more we talk about it, the more we're on the path to healing. And this really started with people coming together, and that's why we say in our purpose statement, we bring people together to eliminate racism and create healthy communities in Chicago. And it took my board and I a while to come up with that, because what we really do is create friendships, and that's where it starts. Our board is very diverse, racially, religiously. We have 5 women, I believe, and 4 men. And we have folks that are nationwide and in Chicago, so that we can look at the full breadth of what is going on in our country and how can we apply those best strategies to Chicago, and how do we share Chicago's learnings with the rest of the nation. So what we do is We build capacity, so education and service is one of our pillars, and then co-creating solutions with partners. So those are the two things that is kind of our secret sauce. And what we do is really create space for people to come together, understand their self-worth and innate nobility, and then share your thoughts on solutions. And that is how we got to 7 years of being solution oriented, co-creating at the individual level, community level, and institutional level.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those activities, because one of the things that I want to do with this podcast is to show practical things that nonprofits can do in order to be successful. So we really want to be very specific. Now, one of the things that I know that you do is a conference every year called the Be the Healing Conference. And I'm about to flex a little bit. Guys, I did go to high school with Syda. So we went to Lincoln Park together. Unfortunately, I transferred my junior year, so we never got a chance to become besties, but we did know each other. And how I ended up coming back into contact with you was the Be the Healing conference that I attended, right?
Yes, yes.
And that was a very powerful conference. So I know that that's one thing that you do. Can you tell us a little bit about that conference?
Yeah, so that conference is actually how it really started, Organic Oneness, because I was on the Bronzeville Community Action Council, looking on how we can better education in Bronzeville. And one of the organizations was doing a landscape study, and we were looking at solutions together. So these are businesses, the elected officials, principals, parents, everyone that is in the ecosystem of community. We were all working together, trying to figure out how to lessen the violence. And so we were looking at, just what is needed to make a more peaceful community. And the person that was leading this effort was looking at faith solutions from Israel. And I said, if we're really going to tackle this, we got to look at racially what is happening in this country. And so, all of us were putting the pieces together on how can we remedy violence from all these different angles? And so what I was able to contribute was connection to Dr. Joy DeGruy. And from that day-long conference that had 175 community leaders, turned into a year-long project. And from that year-long project, it continued into an annual thing. And in that process of finding money, because in order to put on a conference, you got to find money. I was doing this as an individual. And I'd ask the funders, oh, can you pay for her plane ticket? And I'd ask another funder, oh, can you, pay for the lunch? And can you pay for the facility? And they're like, this isn't how it works. And I've been in the field of nonprofit forever. And they all said, Syda, you got to start your own nonprofit. Like, we don't just pay for plane tickets. So, in 2017, the seed was planted, and I began, just like, what would be a good name be? What, who would my board members be? What would it look like? And then in 2019 is finally when I filed the paperwork and made it happen.
So the Be the Healing conference, though, what is the purpose of that?
Oh, so the purpose of that is for people to understand the legacy of this country. How does slavery still impact our institutions and daily interactions? How does that mindset still navigate all of the policies that are put in place? So how do we understand racism in this country, how it plays out, and then how do we use practical tools to heal. And Dr. Joy DeGruy, a world-renowned educator, trainer, and author of post-traumatic slave syndrome, leads the Be the Healing conference. And she actually has her own nonprofit called Be the Healing. So she travels globally, sharing best practices, her research, and then we learn from her and other community leaders, just how does this play out and how can we rid ourselves of racism and all the impact from the legacy of slavery.
Okay, so one of the things that you mentioned was your board. And I did read that you started out in 2019 with 9 board members.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. That is unusual. So as a nonprofit strategist, I work with a lot of different clients. Most of them are brand new organizations, and they typically don't have that many people to start out on their board, for a lot of different reasons. Many times they just don't know that many people that are dedicated. Other times they are fearful of having that many people on the board. So there's a lot of different reasons why they don't start out with that many board members. So that struck my attention when I saw that. So can you talk to me about that? How did you assemble this board? Where did you meet these people? How did that come about?
Yeah, I didn't know that was unusual, because I when I was working at Local Initiative Support Corporation and Quad Communities Development Corporation and all these other nonprofits, I saw a room full of people. So there were like 26 board members for LISC, and so I assumed that was a normal, average size. It's small even for nonprofits, but the way I chose my board. I was very strategic with each person that I asked to be on the board, because they came to Black and Brown communities from a different angle. So there was one person that was an environmentalist. There was one person that worked specifically with families and children. There was another person that was that worked with Black families in Portland. There's another person that was in tech, so just from youth violence prevention, from housing, so they came at the same subject from a different angle. And then I also was very intentional with half of the board being Baha'is, because this is a Baha'i inspired nonprofit. And in order for there to be a culture shift, you do have to have at least, a third to half being the same kind of background or mindset. And then the other people are in Chicago. So that was very important also. To really understand the landscape of Chicago. So together with the mindset of, okay, we're going to instill these practices and these principles that are Baha'i inspired, and a very idealistic, race unity, gender equality, harmony between science and religion, what the world needs right now in terms of healing and coming together as a global unit. We needed the Baha'i influence. But we also needed to understand, how do you apply that to Chicago's landscape? And so that needed to be very strong also. So everyone came in with a specific purpose. And I kind of put myself in a hard place, because in order to replace any of those board members, they are very specific with their expertise, and then we have 2 board members that are white, 4 that are Black, Latino, so it's very diverse. So in order for me to recreate it, it's going to be a tall ask for sure.
So it sounds like you were doing this kind of work before you actually became a nonprofit.
Yes.
And you did already talk about what made you say, hey, I need to actually be a formal organization, have a structure. It really was tied to funding, correct?
Yeah, it was tied to funding.
Let's roll back a little bit. What made you in the very beginning decide, okay, what was the thing that happened in your life, or was there a moment that you realized, hey, I need to do something? There's these things happening. There's a problem that needs to be solved. What was that problem? What was that event? What led you to this discovery that, hey, I need to be the change that I want in this world? Can you just tell me about that experience? What was going through your head?
Yeah. So it definitely was the Be the Healing experience, and having to navigate and fundraise for it. And I tried having fiscal sponsors, but they weren't fast enough with giving me the reports, or keeping track of the money that I needed or that was coming in. And I saw that I didn't have control of that. And then also the complexities of the conference, or the different things that we wanted to do, because it was a group of, my board really are my friends, like half of them are people I grew up with and did service with, and the other half that I'm currently in the trenches here doing work with. And so it was all of us having our hands strapped, so the institutions, it was too hard to go through all the red tape of getting money, asking other people to be fiscal sponsors. We didn't have full control. So that was really what just led me, like, saying I need to start my own if I want to make this happen. And another thing was, in each nonprofit that I worked for, or institution, I always felt there was something missing. Like, yes, we're trying to do things for the children, but it wasn't holistic. Where I went for holistic, they didn't have spiritual principles. Where they did have spiritual principles, they didn't know about racism, or like really focus on racism the way we needed to. So it was a combination of many things that just pointed to, we need to start our own, and make it what we need it to be.
Okay, so did you, that mindset of we need to start our own and make it what we need it to be, that's not actually common. Did you come from a family that of entrepreneurs or change makers, or people that had nonprofits, or did a lot of charity work?
So I do come, yeah. So a lot of service to humanity. So growing up as a Baha'i, that was the focus. And my husband, I think that's the picture that's being shown right now. He is also a Baha'i, and so when we got married, we said that we're going to have a marriage of service. Like, this is our foundation. And growing up as a Baha'i, my parents instilled justice and truthfulness. I mean, that's what the faith is about, for global society, encompassing everyone, men and women, just everyone across the globe. How do we get to this place of unity? And it talks about truthfulness being the foundation of all human virtues. It talks about justice. The best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom if thou desirest me. So these principles were instilled in me at a very young age. So I had a trained lens on what justice looked like. And understanding that each of us have a soul, and we're all noble in the sight of God, and that we should not harm anyone for any reason, that was instilled in me. And to love the diversity. We're all part of a human family. We're all a part of God's children. And so when I saw people getting hurt, that impacted me so much as a child. And I grew up in Black and Brown communities. My grammar school was primarily Black and Latino, and so was high school, where I met you. And whenever I saw somebody hurt, that really got to me at a cellular level. Like, I felt their soul was being hurt. It went beyond the flesh. And what I found out later on in life, unfortunately, was that the people that were getting hurt the most was the Black community. The darker your skin is, the worse it is in humanity, the way you're being treated. And scripture taught me that people of African descent are the pupil of the eye, surrounded by a sea of white, but it's through the pupil that is able to see what is before it. And so to me, when you're hurting someone that is Black or of African descent, you are blinding humanity. And to me, it's all interconnected. So how can we hurt people like this? And then I saw Dr. Joy DeGruy when I was about 18 or 19, her presentation. And that's when the veil just came off. And I was like, oh my God, this is how the world is treating people. This is the history of our country. How can I not do anything? And so that just informed me even more. But yeah, the level of service came to me at a very young age. And so that's my family. And then my husband reinforces that.
Okay. Well, I think this is a good spot to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we will talk a little bit more about Dr. Joy DeGruy, because some people may not know who she is. But right now, we're going to show a commercial, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So before we went to commercial, and that was a commercial about the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, and I hope that all of you wrote down that date, okay? Because February 15th, that's when we're going to have the Chicago Soulful Chicago Book Fair, and the founder of that is actually going to be a guest on this show in a few weeks. But Black History Month, I want to see all my newbies at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, okay? And it's actually going to be in Bronzeville, where your King Day of Service is, I believe, right, Syda?
Nice. Yes, it's
You're
in
having your King Day of Service also in Bronzeville?
Yes. So it originated in Bronzeville, and it's still in Bronzeville. We're about to go into our 8th year, and we expanded to Inglewood 2 years ago. So now we're in Bronzeville and Inglewood.
So a lot happening in Bronzeville. And so for my newbies who are not in Chicago, because everybody watching this is not a Chicagoan, Bronzeville is a community in Chicago. So is Inglewood is a community in Chicago. So Syda's organization is Chicago based. Not every guest is going to be Chicago based because we have newbies all over the United States. But today we're talking about a Chicago-based organization, so these communities are in Chicago. So before we broke for commercial, you mentioned Joy DeGrew. And I remember when I was at the Be the Healing conference, I did pick up her book. She is an amazing person that talks about post-traumatic stress of slavery and how that still impacts us to this day. So that ties in right with what your organization does in terms of giving communities opportunities and spaces to heal and to recover, so that we can be more united and present ourselves and show up every day, feeling good, being our best, and not suffering, internally. Am I correct?
Yes. If you don't know about her, definitely look her up. She has been the leading force, so everybody that's writing books right now on racial healing, and they cite her somewhere in the book because she is foundational to this work. She's been cited, she's given so many awards and has been cited about 17,000 times, and to be a good author, you're cited about 7 times, so for her to be in the tens of thousands is pretty amazing. Yeah. And Organic Oneness is one
and
of...
so that's what I took away from the Be the Healing conference.
Oh, sorry, it skipped.
Go ahead, Syda. There was a little delay, but you can go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, and we're fortunate to be one of her 6 national partners in this work. So she acts as an advisor to me and the direction that we go in.
Okay. So there are some other things that I saw that Organic Oneness does. So for instance, I was on your page and I saw you segment about beets and the importance of incorporating beets into your diet. And you actually made a meal with beets. And I'm like, wait a minute, how does this tie into Organic Oneness? She's doing a cooking show and on one hand, and then talking about post-traumatic stress on another in another space.
Yeah.
So, how does this all tie in together? Why was that important for you to do that cooking show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. So it's all interconnected, right? Our health and healing this world. Mm-hmm. And so we have to come at it from every way, every angle possible. Understanding why we're in pain and traumatized mentally, what's going on, and physically. And then we also have to know biologically and nutritionally, how do we heal? Because when we have stress, that impacts our body in different ways. And when you have chronic stress, then that leads to diabetes, that leads to cancer, which that's what I unfortunately suffered from. I'm a breast cancer survivor. And so through that journey, I saw, everyone around me running a mile a minute, running themselves to the ground, just like I did, not sleeping, not drinking water, not eating vegetables. And when I would talk to my friends about, just how they were feeling, it was always, I'm so tired, and oh, this is wrong with me, and this is what's happening, and I can't. And it was one of my friends in Florida actually that said, no, I don't eat any vegetables. And I was like, what? And so while I was going on my cancer journey, I took a deep dive into plant plant diets and earth wellness and the interconnectedness of our health with the earth's health. And so everything that the earth provides, and the sun, the trees, the soil, the air, everything that the earth provides actually is something that our body needs to live. And so if we're not in the sun, then our bones actually soften. If we're not eating the fruits and vegetables that it provides, then we're not getting the vitamins and minerals that our organs, our hair, our skin, our eyes need. And so when we're depleted of that on top of the stress, then we're shortening our lifespan. And because I went through a mastectomy, I went through chemo, radiation, 5 years of tamoxifen, a multitude of surgeries. I don't want that to happen to other people, especially people that are trying to help other people and are doing good in the world. So all the health component and I used to be a health teacher, so that's where I started on and I was a dancer before that. So I'm very in tune with the body, and always doing research on how we can stay healthy, because I don't want to have cancer again, and I don't want anybody around me to get cancer, or diabetes or anything. And so I started doing the videos geared towards social activists and caregivers of the earth, reminding people that as we care for others, as we're transforming society, we need to take care of ourselves, and not like the life mask. You know how they say, put your life mask on and then somebody else. No, I don't even want you to be in that life mask stage. How can you sit back and relax and enjoy the ride while you're doing good work? We don't have to get to a stressful state ever, ever. So how can we prevent that with what we're in control in? So I do workshops. It's called Fortress of Wellness. And within the Fortress of Wellness, I do different workshops about nutrition, about sleep, meditation, air quality, all different kinds of topics. So that's how that ties together.
Okay. So in these last few, and thank you for sharing that, because you are an example of strength in my opinion, and so many people go into these endeavors of helping others, and they kind of forget about themselves. And I see that all of the time. So it either goes one or two ways. It's they completely forget about themselves and their health and their self-care, or they get so burnt out that they just say, okay, I'm not going to give it all anymore. And so it seems like you've been able to find that balance, that work-life balance.
If you talk to any of my board members or close friends, they'd be like, no, that's not the truth. And
okay,
that's why I say it so much, because I'm speaking from personal experience. I know how hard it is. I know that my husband's constantly reminding me, you need to get to sleep, because I'm up late writing grants. And if I don't write this grant, then this program doesn't happen, then this doesn't happen. So I'm constantly, and it's usually those situations where I'm lack of sleep that I put a post up. You guys remember to sleep, because I know if I'm not sleeping, you're not sleeping. If I'm not drinking water and I forgot to drink water, remember to drink water. So those are the prompts in whenever I'm going through something. And when I start meetings, I tell people, let's start with water. And by the time we're done with the meeting, let's finish our water together. So it's small things like that. But I struggle also. I'm living in the same environment everybody else is living in. And so whenever I get triggered of like, I haven't been exercising. Okay, everyone, remember to exercise. Remember, like, get out there, go for a walk when you wake up, stretch. And I say that as a reminder to myself and everyone else, because I know the landscape personally. It's hard. It's hard to remember yourself in this.
Okay, so I think I'm getting it. So your organic oneness is about healing communities, not just the community as a whole, but also the individual, the mental, the physical, everything.
Everything, everything. Yes. Yeah. And the individual. So what we focus on is the individual level, the community level, and the institutional level. Those three things need to be in alignment in order for there to be progress. If any of those are not aligned or not in agreement, then you won't have that start. Or if you do have that start, it's not going to last for long. And so so those three things need to be in alignment. So that's why we work at each level. So we work with institutions, Chicago Public Schools, Illinois Tech, University of Chicago, the big institutions that are here in Bronzeville. We work at the community level. So the Gap community, we work with the organizations that are here. We work with Black clubs, different groups. And then at the individual levels, we'll have Pilates, we'll do, sound meditation, because if we're not focused on healing at those three levels, it's not going to happen. We're just
you'll do a random cooking show on your Facebook page.
Random cooking show. If I was able to go shopping and I have some beets and I'm making myself a salad, I'm like, oh wait, I can remind other people.
I love it.
So it's really, personalized. Whatever we do with Organic Oneness is because we're going through it ourselves. I didn't know how to help the families at CPS when I was a family and community engagement manager, but I knew that there was cultural disconnect. I knew there was racism happening. And so I was like, Joy, you got to come back. We got to be the healing conference, you all, because there's problems here. So I don't have the answers. What happens with Organic Oneness is we bring people together to find the answers. I have a piece of that, but everybody has a piece of it. And together we can see the entire puzzle of what we need to do. So that's what our secret sauce is,
Organic Oneness, y'all. So with these last few minutes that we have, I would like to talk a little bit about your upcoming King Day of Service. So we did show a promo for that a little earlier when we were having technical difficulties. So we showed it a little prematurely. I don't want to show it again, but I would like for you to talk a little bit about, this is another annual event that you have. So we talked about Be the Healing. The King Day of Service is another annual event that you have. It's more focused on the youth. And I would like for you to talk a little bit about that and tell us what it is that you need, because I think you told me earlier you need something.
No, we need a lot. So this project again started with people just coming together. So my husband is a civil engineer. And if you don't know, the civil engineer space is primarily white men, and he's Black. And so every time MLK Day came, they would literally say, oh, you can dress down Monday, it's not a big deal, and not think anything of it. Where for Kelsey, my husband, he's like, wait a minute, what do you mean it's not a big deal? Had it not been for Dr. King and fighting for the civil rights and everyone during that time, I wouldn't be able to work in a place like this. So he would, gear himself up and wear a suit when everybody else was wearing jeans and dressed down on that day. And he'd, have candy or something at his desk to start the conversations of, no, we need to honor the legacy of Dr. King. And every year what happened, he'd get more and more upset. And so he said, when I start my company, I'm going to do this big. So he started his company. And the first year we were like, you said that it was going to happen, but he was drowning and just trying to get his business off the ground. So each year we would plan a little bit more. And I think by the third year is when he spoke to one of our community members, Kahari, and he said, it bothers me every time King Day comes, MLK Day comes, and we're not doing anything. It used to be such a big deal. There were songs made at that time when we were in grammar school. It was all about service. We had assemblies. And as adults, we really don't do much. Because it's not a part of our institutional celebration. And so Kahari said, yeah, we got to do something. And then the two of them came back to me and said, we got to do something this year. And then we brought in another community member, Franklin, and there were just a whole bunch. Who else would want to do this? Who else would want to be a part of this? And so we did something for about 150 people. We had about 5 different locations around the community builders in Oakwood Shores. And we had a muralist and just a couple of service sites. So that was 8 years ago. We're going into our 8th year. And it turned into what was a $12,000 budget, now a $75,000 budget. We're in 16 different service sites, 2 different communities, 350 volunteers. And in order to make that happen, we do need to raise money. And everyone knows the landscape of what's going on with funding. So we really need it now to connect the dots in order to make this happen. So that is my plea. If people can donate to Organic Oneness to make this happen. We have 3 muralists that are phenomenal. And we work with the principals to designate the service projects. And then we provide volunteers for each of the schools. So that is what's coming up.
So if they wanted to donate, how would they do that? Just go to your website?
Yeah, so you can go to organiconeness.org, and on the front page, you'll see the donate button. And then from there, just click in. Or if they want to be a large donor or sponsor, they can contact me directly. And all my information is on Organic Oneness. You can reach me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. They can also contact me directly, Syda Taylor, Syda Segovia Taylor, on all those platforms also.
Okay. Well, Syda, last question.
Yes.
If I were a person who had an idea of starting a nonprofit, what would be the words of wisdom that you would share with me about starting a nonprofit?
Oh my gosh. It depends on what I'm going through during the journey myself. Sometimes it's run away, do something. Other times is, this is the best thing ever. But what I would recommend is do this with a group of people that believes in the same purpose. Because you can't do it all. There's just no way. From doing operations, fundraising, getting all the certifications, looking for grants, doing the actual work. Everybody thinks, oh, if I start on my own nonprofit, then I can freely do the community work that I want. And that's not the case. The community work that you want to do, it's like you have two full-time jobs. So you go out, the community meetings, you do everything that you want to do, but the majority of your time is put into operationalizing everything, keeping your donors and your participants and constituents and the elected officials updated with what you're doing. searching for money to do what you want to do. So you definitely need a team of people with different skill sets. So I do not recommend just getting all your people just because you like hanging out with them. You need people that, yes, you can cry with them, but you also need people that are self-motivated and can research and learn things quickly, and are not ego-driven. So those are the things that I would definitely say watch out for.
Okay, and we do have a comment from Lori Martin. She says, this sounds like a great opportunity to team up with the Changing Worlds organization. Have you ever heard of that? The Changing Worlds organization?
I love the name of it already.
That might be something you can look into.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Lori Martin is a person that I actually know, and she is very smart and she's very resourceful. So if she recommends it, I would say follow up.
I will. Thank you so much. Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm. She says, this has truly been inspirational. I'm so glad that such genuine social justice and anti-racism work is happening in Chicago, especially in areas that rarely get the positive recognition they deserve.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you, Bridgett, for putting all of this together.
Lori.
This is amazing.
Lori. Well, thank you for being my very, very first guest on my inaugural episode.
Yay! Congratulations.
As we move forward, I will probably be a little more polished.
You never know.
And thank
That's
you to all of our viewers. We are going to Lori said, I'll get your email from Bridgett.
Great.
So
great.
She'll talk to you more about that. She just came from a conference actually about race. She's a librarian. I hope Lori doesn't mind me sharing this, but she's a librarian and she just actually went to a conference about this very topic, racism in how it shows up in, in curriculum and in schools and things like that. So I'm sure you guys have a great conversation.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So any last thoughts before we wind down?
Just if anybody,
Syda?
Yeah, can you hear me? You're frozen. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? So
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, great.
You're breaking up just a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on here. And if people are interested, please go to the website. We do need financial assistance and prayers. I'm always taking and accepting prayers, and then just networking. So this is what's going to get us through the landscape of this country, is connecting our hearts together and working together. And that's what this is all about.
Okay, well, Syda, thank you for sharing your heart, your wisdom, your time. I do appreciate you, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Yes, definitely.
Syda Taylor from Organic Oneness, y'all. Have a good one. So that concludes our show. We're going to show a short farewell clip to end our show, and I will see you next week on Leaders of the New Nonprofits Empowering World.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.